This video tutorial will show you how to use Inkscape to turn a drawing on paper or a drawing on an iPad or iPhone into a cleaned up digital image. You can use this for the Cricut, Glowforge, PowerPoint presentations, and on projects like t-shirts, stickers, engraving, and more. You are only limited by your imagination. This video has many parts. Here are the parts of our video today. Feel free to skip ahead to the part you need. First, you need to create your drawing. You can create this on an iPad or an iPhone using the Notes app. Using a stylus will help you create steady, even lines. If you draw on a piece of paper, use a dark marker on white paper to create thick lines that stand out. If you create a drawing on paper, take a photo of that drawing in a well-lit area. Then crop the photo to show just your drawing before you email it. This will make your work in Inkscape a lot easier. To crop a photo, tap the Edit button, then the Crop tool, and drag the corners in around the photo until you see only your drawing. Then click Done. To send a drawing you created on the Notes app, tap the Send button in the top right corner. Then a menu will appear. Click Save Image. Then open up your Photos app and click on your drawing. Tap the Send button. Do the same thing if you've created a drawing on paper. Go to your Photos app and click on your drawing. Then tap the Send button. Next, you will need to send your picture to a computer. You can do this by using AirDrop or by emailing it. If you have a MacBook or a Mac desktop computer, make sure the Wi-Fi is on. Then when the computer shows up here on your iPad, under the AirDrop section, click on the computer name. Remember, AirDrop will only work with Apple computers. For all other computers, once you click the email icon, this screen will pop up. In the To section, type the email address you are wanting to send the picture to. Then in the subject line, write a title for your picture. Then click Send. If you created your drawing on paper and took a photo of it, the last step in emailing your photo is that a little screen will pop up and it will ask you what size you want to send your photo as. I typically try to pick the largest file size I can, which is usually the actual size. You can see small, medium, and large right here. The reason I choose the largest file size is so that I can have a really crisp, good-sized image. If you choose a small file size, your image is going to come out very blurry when you're working with it in Inkscape. So I typically choose actual size, which is usually the largest file, or large. Then click Send. The next step is to open your email and save your picture to the computer. Then open Inkscape. There are three important tools to know about in Inkscape: the arrow tool, the zoom tool, and the resizing tool, which you can use any of these arrows around your picture to resize it. Once you have opened up Inkscape, this is what it will look like. This is your canvas where you will be working with your image. All this other blank space is kind of like a desk area. You want your final image to be right here in the middle of this canvas. The first thing we want to do is to find our file. So we go to File, Open, and then mine is saved in the Download section, but you could click the down arrow, and if it's saved on the desktop, you could click there. But right now, I'm going to open up my bear drawing. I usually leave all of these default settings just as they are and click OK. The first thing we're going to do is do a trace bitmap. This actually turns the drawing into recognizable lines for the program. This is the first step in being able to clean up and edit the lines of your drawing. To do this, we'll go up to Path, Trace Bitmap. We're going to turn the colors down to 2. We only need black and white for this image. We're going to click Live Preview so that our image shows up here when it's ready. Then we're going to click on our image so it highlights it right here, and we say OK to start the trace. Almost instantly you can see that a darker outline has formed around my image. To see how well my trace worked, I'm going to click and drag and pull it to the side, and now you can see that the trace looks already a lot crisper and cleaner than my original drawing. I don't need this original drawing anymore, so I'm going to click on it and push backspace or delete. Then I'm going to drag my new trace right onto the middle of my canvas. I can also close out of this trace bitmap box. I don't need that open anymore. The next tool we're going to be using in Inkscape is called nodes. Nodes allow you to change the shape of your drawing. To get to the nodes, first click on your drawing, then click this little tool right here, which is the nodes tool. You can see that a bunch of little squares have appeared all over your drawing. Each one of these is called a node. This is way too many nodes for us to try to use, so we're going to go up to Path and then Simplify. Now you can see there are way less nodes and our drawing has smoothed out a little more. Basically, these nodes are spots on your image that you can move to make the edges more smooth or to change the way a part looks by clicking and dragging. So first what you want to do is find a part that you want to fix. So I noticed that my bear's nose is kind of lopsided, and I could leave it like that because it's kind of cute. But if I wanted to change it, all I need to do is click on a node to highlight it. You can see these handles appear on the two nodes around it. I click on the middle of the node and I can stretch that nose way up, or I could just stretch it up a little bit. If I want to check and see if that looks good, I'm going to click the arrow, and that looks pretty good. If I want to get my nodes back, just click on the node button again. I can also move a node by clicking and holding while I drag, and you can see the shape changes while I drag the node up or down, or if I drag the node right or left. You can also delete a node. I have this weird shape right there. The line doesn't look very smooth. If I try to fix it, it still doesn't look great. So what I can do is I can click on the node, highlight it to make it red, and then I can click delete. That automatically made it look a lot smoother in this area right here. So sometimes it's easier to delete a node than to try to move it around to make it look like you want. You can also add a node by double left clicking in the spot that you want it. And then you can use it just like any other node. You can also move the handles of a node, which are these end parts right here. By moving the handles, you can change the shape around the node. It's not going to move the node itself, but it will change the shape around it. So by trying different things with these nodes, you can get the shape of your image to change. You can fix lines that need to be fixed. You can fix shapes that need to be fixed, and do anything you need to do to clean up your image. If you happen to make a mistake that you don't like, instead of trying to put it back where it was, you can go up to Edit and click Undo. You might have to click it once or twice to get it back to its original state. You can also click Redo if you want to go back to what you just did. Here is the original trace of my drawing. You can see the jagged edges, the circles that weren't very round, some more jagged edges down here. And here is my drawing once I used nodes to clean it up. The reason it's important to clean up the edges is because if you're using this for a cutting project like on a Glowforge or a Cricut or an engraving project on the Glowforge or the Cricut are going to see all these little jagged and wavy lines, and it's going to cut exactly what you have. If you want it to look nice and smooth when it cuts or engraves your image, then you're going to want to use Inkscape to clean it up. You have different options for cutting your files. You can have your file cut right around the shape, or you can add a shape to the background. The way we're going to do this is by creating a stroke and fill layer. This will allow you to create a file that you can use to cut and engrave at the same time. First, make sure your layers palette is visible. It's not right now, so I go up to Layer and then click on Layers. Inkscape does not start you out with a base layer, so you need to click the plus sign to add a new layer. I'm going to leave it titled as Layer 1 and click Add. Because I want an engrave layer and a cut layer, I'm going to add a second layer by clicking the plus sign. I'm going to leave that titled Layer 2 and click Add. I'm going to right click on my drawing and click Duplicate. To see if it duplicated my drawing, I'm going to pull the top one to the side and I can see, yes, it did duplicate my drawing. Next, I'm going to right click on this top drawing and I'm going to say Move to Layer 1 and click Move. Then I'm going to click on the back drawing and get that highlighted. Right click on it and say Move to Layer 2. Now if I use this eyeball to turn off Layer 2, I can see that one of them is on Layer 2 and one of them is on Layer 1. It's important that each one is on a separate layer because one of them will be for cutting and one of them will be for engraving. I'm going to turn off Layer 2 by clicking the eyeball over here. And I'm going to move our Layer 1 bear off to the side, kind of on our desktop. And I'm going to turn back on the Layer 2 bear and move it to the center. This is because Layer 1 bear is just an engraving. The Layer 1 bear is fine just as it is. We need to do some work to this Layer 2 bear in order to get it to be a cut file. Next, we want to click on our image so that it's highlighted with the marching ants. Then we're going to click on Path and Stroke to Path. You can see it's removed a lot of the paint from the inside of our drawing. Then, making sure it's still highlighted with these marching ants, you're going to go to Path and Break Apart. Next, we're going to go to our Fill and Stroke palette. We're going to make sure the Fill tab is clicked and click X because we do not want any paint inside of our image. Then we click on the Stroke Paint tab, click on the box to the right of the X, and you can see we have the color black right here, and it's turned the whole outline of our image black again. Next, I will click somewhere in the white space to deselect my whole object. And now I can click on any one of the lines that I want to get rid of, and then I hit the delete button. Now you need to do this twice, usually for each object. So I don't want it to cut all of these things out, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on them and hit delete or backspace for all of these objects. It will even give you two outside shape lines, so I'm going to delete one of those as well. Now I have a cutting layer right here. The last step is to drag your original engrave layer right back on top of your cut layer. I can make sure they're on two separate layers by turning the eyeballs on and off to see which layer they are on. If I save this as an SVG file and use it for the Glowforge, this first layer will be an engraving and this second layer will cut out around my shape. For some projects like making jewelry, you might want to add a shape around your image. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to right click and delete Layer 2. I'm going to click on my image and use the arrow at the corner to resize it. Move my image to the center of our canvas here. Then I'm going to select the circle tool. I'm going to draw a circle around my bear. I'm going to click the arrow tool to move the circle, and position that so the bear is about in the center. Next, I need to make a new layer so that I can have one layer be the engrave layer and one layer be the cut layer. I'm going to click Add. Then I'm going to click on my circle again, right click, and say Move to Layer 2 so that my engraving is on one layer and my cutting is on one layer. You might also want to add a hole for a necklace or a bracelet. So you just select the circle tool and add another circle. I can see how that looks by clicking off of it, and that looks pretty good. To make sure it's on the same cutting layer as my outside circle, I'm going to highlight that, right click, and say Move to Layer 2. Another option for making a bracelet or a chain of something, you might put the hole on the side. You could also right click and duplicate this, then move the copy of it to the other side. Always make sure you right click and move to the second layer or that cutting layer. Make sure that when you're adding holes to your designs that you're leaving enough space between the hole and the edge of the wood or whatever you're cutting on so that it's pretty stable. This one I tried to add a tiny hole right there, but it collapsed when it got out of the Glowforge because there wasn't enough space between the hole and the top of the wood that it was cutting. So that's why I found the circle to be a really easy shape to work with when I was making jewelry. You are now ready to save your image. There are two main ways you can save your image. One is called a PNG, the other is called an SVG. These are two different file types. If you want to create a digital item like clip art for a website, or you want to create a logo, or a digital book, or a slideshow, or you want to print things, then you're probably going to want to save it as a PNG file. If you want to do makerspace type items like use a Glowforge or a Cricut, you're probably going to want to save it as an SVG file. The SVG file allows you to have a bunch of layers so that you can have cutting and engraving all in the same file. A PNG is just a flattened image. But both of these files do save with a transparent background. So if I want to save my bear as a PNG image for digital use on websites and logos and printable things, I would go to File, Export PNG Image. Now I'm going to leave most of these settings as they are, but I want to make sure that this says 300 dpi. That means it's going to save at a high resolution, and I'm going to be able to scale it up as I need to and make it larger if I want to, and it'll still look crisp and clear. I'm going to click Export As. Then what I'm going to do is title it Bear, very original, and you can see right here it says PNG image. I am going to save it to my downloads, and voila, it is saved as a PNG image. If I want to save this bear for use on the Glowforge or the Cricut, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these two layers, so I'm not going to flatten them. I'm going to go to File, Save a Copy, and I am going to click down here and search for Optimized SVG, and I'm going to call it Bear 2. And I am going to find where I want to save it. I'm going to save it to my downloads and click Save. I leave all of these settings and click OK. It is now saved as an SVG file. You now have an image you can use on all types of projects. Have fun!